Well, hello everyone. This is Jen with Weirdo Weddings, and welcome to another episode of Tattoos and Toddlers. Except today is going to be so unique that we don't have necessarily any tattoos or toddlers today. But what I can tell you is that I have my amazing friend Lucero today. So, Lucero, would you please jump on in and introduce yourself real quick?
Hi, everybody. My name is Lucero Cervantes Kilgore. I'm a bilingual wedding portrait photographer, owner of Lucero Cervantes Photography. I am very excited to be here. I might not have human children, but I do have fur babies. So I have three. So I am a fur mom. One cat and two dogs.
And I never, being that my cats were my first babies, I absolutely understand what it's like to have a fur baby. Now we have three fur babies. We had four for a short time, and now we have three fur babies. But my husband and I, when we first got married, we had our two babies for 16 years, 15, 16 years. And but they literally were like our children before we had a child.
Oh yeah, the dogs. I mean, the cat acts like a teenager.
Yep.
We just recently rescued a pup. He's about 6 months, going into 7 months, and then
Aw.
we have our 6-year-old Habapu. So I feel like there's like all these different ages, and but the dogs are definitely acting like children. So it's like
100%. Our 7-month-old babies.
just
Yep. Our 7-month-old babies are definitely kids. And
yeah.
Hans is 15 and he's like a grumpy old grandpa. It's really cute. But today's topic I really wanted to lean in on today that, just so everybody knows listening, Lucero and I are both photographers, and specifically we do love doing weddings. And but I also know, and a lot of this topics on this podcast is about how we compartmentalize our life when we have this, I don't like the work-life balance thing. I really like we compartmentalize our time and our attention and our passion to various people in our lives, right? So we
Mhm.
have our clients, we have our spouse, we have our pets, all these things. But here recently, Lucero, I know you've had a lot going on in your life with your partner, your spouse,
Mhm.
um, and having to juggle working, but also caretaking.
Yeah.
I wanted to know if you'd be okay sharing a little bit of what's been going on and how you've been able to kind of like keep a positive attitude even on those hard days.
Yeah. So my husband is going through chemo right now. They found sarcoma, cancer sarcoma, back in the end of September. So it's been a couple of months now that we're in this journey. So it's been a roller coaster. It's been hard, but our faith is what is keeping us afloat.
Mhm.
A lot of people ask me, like, what is it that is helping you to stay hopeful and faithful? And it's just, our faith. We're very big in community. We're big on reaching out. I am still learning a lot of things, learning to ask for help. Because I grew up to be the only child in my family. I tend to be very independent. Like I can do this, by myself. I can do this on my own, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's really not true. I have to ask for help, and I've been very thankful that a lot of people are being willing to help out and willing to be there for us, for me. So it's been a hard journey. My mother is also 74 years old, so she is elderly. So she has also some issues with her health. However, I think the best thing that I do is just simply take some time away to breathe, pray, meditate, sleep.
Yes.
I do the best that I can.
I'm always going
And
to
then
exclaim, y'all, just so you know, anytime somebody says they like sleep, I just exclaim yes, because rest for our body is so important. So I just had to just stop there for a second. Yeah, keep
yes,
going. Keep on telling us what.
no.
Yes, sleep is good.
Yes, no, it really is. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's been times, as a wedding photographer, our seasons tend to be fall and spring. We tend to do have a little bit of breaks there. Maybe summer in Texas is very crazy. Maybe not a whole lot of work because it's very hot, but definitely we prepare for the next season. So both seasons for me has been absolutely incredible. It's been, a good amount of work to be able to balance, to be there for my husband in the hospital and take care of my mom and my business and myself. But definitely, the best thing that I do is also not to close myself off as a person. I love being around people. People give me very, energy, especially people that have a great energy and positive energy. It bounces, right? So I need those people that I can hang out. Jen is one of those people. so it's really fun to be able to connect and spend time with each other when we can, and when I can't. And so having a community really helped me to get out of my head, to not, have negative thoughts, because it's very easy to do. So that's really how I can keep up. I will say it really is hearing positive, comments, people talking, conversations, having really good positive conversations, even in the hard things. It really that's what it is. So.
Yeah, I really feel you on that. And I totally agree with a lot of your methods too, because that's just kind of like I let a lot of things come in and out of my head, but I don't let it stay there. It's like,
yeah.
I can have tons of negative thoughts and ideas, but I don't want to live in that space. And I think it's nice that we're self-aware enough, right? We're able to see what's coming and let it flow around or through us instead of just stick around. And I think that's kind of important right now in these times.
Yeah.
And and being a creative too. We have such a big heart for our clients and our family, and we I don't know about you, but I definitely use photography as a creative outlet.
Yeah.
And I look for things in my art that tells me things that encourage me. Because if nobody's here to encourage me, that I usually end up encouraging myself through a piece of art. Or the other day, I sat and watched a snail go on the sidewalk, and I was like, "Why is this so amazing? It's so great!"
Yes. Yes. And one thing that I will say though, it's okay to not be okay. That is one thing also that I'm going to say is because, because there's days where I don't necessarily feel very, positive and cheerful and stuff. No, there's a balance in the mental health. But it's so true. I mean, in my situation, and I told this to my clients, I'm very much an open book. Yeah. My clients are aware of where we are in our life. Yeah. And they've been so incredible, kind, loving, very patient. So when I go and do the photos, when I create sessions and go do the weddings, life continues to be, it hasn't really, have alter in my workflow or anything. I do my best to have everything on time. But when I go to work, that it really gives me so much joy to be able to do the projects that I'm working on, things that I'm doing. So yes, that's my outlet. Definitely work, and I don't see it as a work. I see it as a fun activity that I get to do and meet people and capture love.
Yes. Oh my gosh. We're both kind of obsessed with people in love. I have a feeling that we both kind of approach weddings that way in general. Anybody who's getting married or getting all lovey-dovey, we kind of want to be in the moment with you. Yes. And I kind of want to segue into a project that we did last week that is kind of on point to what do wedding photographers do if they've got to bring in somebody for their own kind of event? You know what I mean? If the roles were reversed, I'm hoping that Lucero would bring me in for something, but I have to let y'all know that I had this idea that I was going to put something together. And for those of y'all that don't know, when I got married 18 years ago, I certainly did not bring in a wedding photographer of choice. I mean, we brought in somebody who caught about 24 images for us that were beautiful, but it didn't tell my whole story. I felt like I wanted it to tell our whole story. So technically, I mean, we didn't hire somebody to come in and capture our entire day. And so that really, it's not like it's a regret, but it's not something that I let ruin my whole life. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But if I can spend half as much time giving back to my clients as to what I got on my wedding day, which is the whole 24 images. Like the
Mm-hmm.
digital world is like hundreds of images now, but the
Sure.
point is that I didn't take the time to really express what I wanted. And so
Mm-hmm.
when I had this opportunity come up, and yeah, hold your breath, y'all. So what I ended up doing, if y'all didn't know this already, I had a Blue Man Group theme wedding. And as far as I know, I'm one of the only fans that has done this. And by fan, I mean I've been a fan for 27 years. I've seen their theater productions, I've seen their concert tours. So I've seen Blue Man Group in lots of different spaces and watched them evolve also as a company and as a creative staple in, the communities.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my theme for my wedding. And I did not know that that was like, back then it was like, that's like, like super creative. Like it's not a
Mm-hmm.
typical normal traditional style wedding, even though I did have like a traditional normal ceremony, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. But
Yeah.
my theme was different. So here we are, 18 years later, and I thought to myself, man, Zach proposed to me on Kid Kraddick in the morning. That's kind of really special. Kid passed in 2013 and this was like 2004.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought to myself, man, I should just reach out and like do a vow renewal this year. Like, why not? It's 18 years. I don't want to wait till 20. So
No, that's good.
I thought to myself, here I am planning my own vow renewal, right? And you and I both work elopements, so we know how
Mm-hmm.
people just run off to the courthouse and they
Mm-hmm.
just get married and they just show up in whatever they want. Well, I took it a step further and I said, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to bring in my friend who's a wedding photographer because I can't capture my own vow renewal. I
Uh-huh.
had to entrust my trust to somebody to do that for me. And then I had our mutual friend Kate come in and do
Yes.
some kind of a floral inspiration. I gave her the theme. It's another Blue Man Group theme. I said, "Hey girl, take this theme and run with it." And I said, "Here's the spin arts on my wall. Here's the
Mm-hmm.
color scheme. And I want you to do what you do because Kate, like you guys, you guys know me well enough to know who I am, what I
Yeah.
represent, how I showed you what I was going to wear."
Yeah. Yeah. And I love it. I love it.
And so what was exciting for me is that I felt like I could bring you both in to experience that with me because this was probably the fourth time I was on the show, and the first time was my connection with Blue Man Group and the message board actually.
Sure.
One of the second times was I was on a phone call with Ben Stiller. Long story. The third time was my proposal. And then the fourth time was my vow renewal. So I think I got the math right. But either way, like every time I
Mm-hmm.
have been in, it has been nerve-wracking. It has been because I'm usually like very stumble over my words. And I know it's radio, but oh my God, like you want to
Yeah. Oh,
show up and
yeah.
feel good, right? So the great thing about having Kate and Lucero there, and not just Kate and Lucero, but obviously my husband too. But bringing people in that you're comfortable with, right? So can we speak to that just a little bit? Like,
Yeah.
if anybody was getting married, like I just did a vow renewal. I know that you're
Mm-hmm.
probably going to you'll probably do tons of special things with your husband as well. When we're helping our couples, what do you think
Mm-hmm.
that is some of our top things that as photographers we approach our clients with? Like if they're needing help with something, or like the vow renewal, like how did that like impact you when I said, hey, let's go to the Kid Kraddick studio, you're going to capture this vow renewal,
Mm-hmm.
and ready, go.
Yeah. Well, building a relationship with them. I think, knowing that you're going to have a connection with them, because it could be anything. I mean, it could be a radio renewal. It could be, elopement in the courthouse. It could be just a regular wedding, whatever it is. I feel that if you build a relationship and that connection is built and you start laughing together and having fun, once a situation starts happening, you not only they are connecting with each other as they're going through this beautiful situation, but I'm like also connected with them, and I can like create these images, and I'm already inspired what to do because I can see in their faces their love, and like they're talking to each other about, how much they love each other and they're going through this. So in this situation, obviously, I know you for a couple of years now and I adore you. So it was so easy because I think Kate and I, we saw each other a couple of times and we were just almost in tears because, we love you and we love that we got to experience this firsthand. And, going through this experience with you was so much fun. And like I said, just capturing those emotions in your facial expressions was everything to me. So yeah, we're in the radio station and Kelly is like right next to me, and Big Alice on the other side, and I grew up listening to this show. I mean, I grew up since like I think high school years, and college. They used to keep me company, and so it's really fantastic that I get to experience such a special, moment that is not just going to the radio and it's like, oh, it's a contest or something, but it's one of my friends' vow renewal. And, I get to photograph the situation and, the connection that we have is beautiful. So it was such a unique and beautiful experience. And when you express that, I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is really cool. I've never worked in radio before. My mother, this is a little fact. My mother used to be the voice of our radio station for I think like 10 or more years in Mexico
so
when
cute.
we used to live over there. So it's fun. It's really cool to think about that, the connection in radio. But yeah, I mean, I feel that, like I said, when you have, you build a relationship with a client, no matter who they are, and that connection is so strong, they automatically will feel comfortable with you. If the connection is not there, most likely it's going to be a little bit more difficult. And you can still work with them. There's absolutely no problem. But it's easier, I think, for people to feel comfortable once they, they feel comfortable with you because they know you and connect with you.
And I think that goes to like being in that environment, like because I'd already been there before, I was actually quite comfortable to walk into the studio and share a mic with him and kind of let them guide the conversation. And then all of a sudden they're replaying, kids' original audio from 2004 when we got engaged. And I thought it was a game show and it's not. And he's like, will you marry me? And I'm like, holy crap. And then when we had discussed, lightly letting Big Al do the vow renewal ceremony, and as pure Big Al style, he just came out with his own versions of who knows what ever comes out of his mouth. And I think that was great because it was just everything I've loved about the show. Because when I had my full-time job, that's all I did was listen to Kid Kraddick in the morning, all day, every day. Like every time their show was on, I was up at the crack of dawn going to work, and then I would listen to it till 9:59 a.m. You know what I mean?
That's true.
I was there when 9/11 hit, and I was listening to Kid Kraddick in the morning. I mean, it was just. It was crazy how we've done life with them, right? Like, like you were saying, you were young, and I've lived in Dallas for 23 years. So it's like, the time and the nostalgia and just these people, they're just wonderful and I love them. And so it was just such an honor to have JC kind of lead the conversation. And then of course, Kelly and Al were there for the original vow renewal. So it was very sweet and it was just so fun. And I've already seen some of the photos, y'all. So Lucero basically got me cheesing the whole time. And I think that's exactly how I felt. So, and all of the
that
photos,
was all you. I didn't do anything.
It was all in the photos. Like all she did was capture my big cheesy grins. And that's when I look at the photos, this is how I would have wanted to feel on my wedding day. Same for when I'm doing this for my clients. I relive every emotion that they're feeling, right? So you can't not smile when you're looking at these kinds of photos. And I think that you and I probably both we either tear up while we're editing, or we smile all over again, or we laugh because we remember what happened in that moment. But to me, this is the power of photography. And I love that we can both share this together. And the love of our own nerdy things. Like I'm a Blue Man Group fan. You're a huge Disney fan, right? And we also nerd out about Star Wars together, and it's really, really funny. So I love that you added in that it just having the relationship is important, because I totally agree. Like I said, I felt comfortable with you. I felt comfortable with Kate, and I felt comfortable in the studio because I already felt like I was welcomed there. and ready to just share my story with people. And so it was so fun. Is there anything else we might leave people with today as far as, being a business owner and compartmentalizing our time and making that time for ourselves creatively? I know you said you have a couple of things coming up that you're trying to get creative on, but is there something else that we could leave our listeners with today as we are rounding out our talk today?
I mean, I let yourself go and be creative. I mean, when opportunities come, when you invite me to come into this project, and one thing that I forgot to mention is that as a photographer, I'm a true to color photographer. So one of the things that I know for Jen, the blue, I guess it's royal blue, was so important
cobalt
in this
blue.
photos.
Yep. Very bright blue. Yep.
So when I was choosing her images, it was something very important for me to capture the essence, capture her soul, both of them, her and her husband's. But also when I was editing some of this particular colors, I want to make sure that it was exactly what she wanted, and what I love, which it puts me in the position to be creative. So I feel that as artists, especially, it doesn't matter what kind of, art that you do and create, just let go. And especially if you're stressed, if you're, if there's a lot happening, if this particular art brings you joy, just, go for it and have fun. It's not easy. I know that, at least for us, that brings me a lot of joy, just creating, having fun, being invited to come to do projects that maybe are not the typical projects that I do, but at the same time, it's what I need and what I want. And, I want to, one thing that I envy from Jen is that she does some really fun weddings, like in the Renaissance fair. Like, I want to do one of those. Like, my weddings tend to be a little more romantic and elegant, and there's not a whole lot of theme per se, but I love those theme weddings. If I able to get hired to do one, I know I have done 2 Star Wars weddings, and it was a lot of fun, and because I'm a huge fan. But if there's any other themes out there and I'm able to be part of it, it's like I want to be part of it.
Absolutely.
Fun. So, but obviously I welcome any type of job. I'm not going to be like particular about it, but I absolutely love just the uniqueness and fun of creating something, but especially how people feel in the moment. I think that's my favorite part of it all. It doesn't matter what it is, just the looks, the smiles. I mean, when you guys have the opportunity to see those photos, either through Jen or through me, I just cannot wait for you guys to see her smile. She says it's cheesy, but to me it's so inspiring. She is so much in love with her husband. And my favorite part is this is 18 years in the making and many more, and they're still very much in love with each other, and you can tell by those looks. And it was so easy to capture that. I didn't, at that moment, because it's radio, that was one thing. It's like, I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to direct. I was very much a photojournalist in the moment.
Yeah.
So that was her real, smiles and expressions, both of them. And that's probably one of my favorite things, because it's like, okay, this is happening. This is life is right there in front of me, and I'm capturing it. And, this is priceless.
And I didn't have to think, like, I didn't have to direct. And, I'm used to, like, if I'm doing something in my business, I'm usually thinking about the creative direction, like, all the time, even if nobody tells me to think about it. Like, I'm always thinking about, how about this angle? How about this angle? And then I don't know if you have worked the same way, but our minds are going a mile a minute about, am I capturing all the things that I know that my client's going to look back on and be like, oh, but, I want to say that, it's Blue Man Group. If nobody's ever seen the show, it is so full of color. So the fact that you represented, in my opinion, Blue Man Group the way I would have wanted to see Blue Man Group represented as well, because I'm a Blue Man fan, and I would say if it was not representative of it. But the great news is that I've been telling all the Blue Man fans out there that are in my group. I'm also telling some of the actual staff. I'm like, y'all got to check this out. This is going to be so much fun to share, because, like all of us, we have a photography community, and we have those nerdy communities that we have the things that we nerd out about. And so Blue Man is definitely one of them. And so I have a great fan community, as well as amazing staff that really take care of their fans and really interact with the fans at the shows. And it's so much fun. But so as we are closing out, y'all, I want to invite you to, if you can listen to the radio station and the radio vow renewal, that's great. I'm going to see if I can catch it on the replay. I think it's supposed to air this Friday. Whenever you hear this podcast, it's going to be airing live on the air. And I'm so excited that you could be a part of it, Lucero.
Yes.
And I am excited to also share this with Kate, who is, again, another wedding pro that loves getting out of the box every once in a while. And I think that's what I love about my clients, is that we're always getting out of the box. And I continue to serve my wonderful out of the box clients that are the weirdos and the quirky people of the world. We are here to serve you, my friends. So thank you again for coming out to listen to us today. And Lucero, I wish you all the best, and I will see you soon, my friend.
I love you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me to come along your fun journey, because I absolutely adore it. And it's a great time all the time.
Absolutely. All right. Stay tuned for the next episode, y'all. Bye.
Bye.